Hi everyone, welcome back to the Onshape and Inventor CAD series. This is the second part to it, and today you'll learn some new topics about how to make your sketches into 3D objects. A little bit about me. Hi, my name is Shrikar Iranti and I'm currently a sophomore in high school, and I like coding and robotics, and in my free time I dabble in some CAD. So today we'll be looking at extrusion, revolving, and the remove command. And in general, we'll be focusing on turning 2D sketches on planes into 3D objects. So to begin, extruding. So the 3D tools that we'll be using today are in the top left-hand corner of Onshape, and the uses for it are to revolve around an axis, to extrude a normal sketch, to loft things together, and there are a couple more commands. So let me show you where that is right now. So if I just open up a new document, you can see over here, these are the commands that I was talking about. This is extrude, revolve, sweep, which we won't be covering today as it's a more advanced topic, and loft. So these three we'll be covering today. So for the first part, extruding up or down on a sketch is essentially what you'll be doing with this tool. It can turn any 2D sketch into a 3D object, and you can choose the size of the extrusion, and this would work on any shape of a sketch. So if I'm to show you here, I'll just make a new sketch on this plane, and I'll just draw like a square, why not? And I'll click on the check mark to complete my sketch. So this is the extrude tool, the first one. I can select it. Now it's telling me to select a face or sketch region to extrude. So I'll select my rectangle that I created here, and look at this. I can now change the height of it. So if I want it to be 3 inches big, for example, I could simply hit 3 and then click on this, and now I have a 3-inch rectangle here. So I just made a 2D sketch into a simple 3D object by using the extrusion tool. The next tool is the remove tool. So if you want to remove material essentially from any 3D object, you can use the extrusion tool again, except you can flip the direction here. So if I start a new sketch, on the top here, and let's just say I place a random circle somewhere like here, and I click on the check mark, I can go back to this extrude tool, and it's going to tell me to select something. So I'm going to select this, and I can either extrude it out like this, or I can go to the remove button over here. So if I click on remove, now what? Now it's going to go all the way down. But let's say I want it to go all the way through. I could do 3 inches, so it goes all the way down. So now it's going all the way through the object. And you can make it 2 inches, 1 inches, and you could do it on the side. You could do it anywhere you want on an existing 3D object, essentially, to any depth or any shape. And again, this is very similar to the extruding tool, but instead of adding material, you're removing material, and it's found in the same spot up here. So the next main function is the revolve command. So let me clean up some of the things here. Let me delete a couple of these things. So the revolve command also turns 2D sketches into 3D objects. Essentially what it does is it allows you to rotate a certain number of degrees around an axis of a sketch. So you can make circles, semicircles, or like pieces of circles essentially. So this first part might be a bit confusing, a certain number of degrees around an axis. You might be wondering, what does that mean? So I'll show you. Over here, it's the second one called revolve. If you click on this, you can click on this first face. So faces and sketch regions to revolve. So I'll click on this. Now it's asking me for the revolve axis. So select this. So before we're selecting this, select the revolve axis. And now essentially I can either select this, which will create an object like that, or I can select this, which will create an object like this. So once again, I could do something like that. I could do something like that. I could do something like this. So, let's just say that I want to go with this. I'll do this. Essentially what it did is around this point here, around this axis, of the sketch, I was able to rotate this 2D sketch all the way through 360 degrees to create a full circle. So let's say that I wanted to do it partially, right? So I'll select this again, and I'll select this revolve again around that axis. I can change it from full to one direction, and then I can change this to 90 degrees, for example. So I'll hit yes, and there we go. Now I have a 90-degree piece of a circle. And you could do that as, you know, to any degrees you want between 0 and 360. And that's basically like the revolve tool. It essentially allows you to revolve a 2D sketch around any axis of a sketch to create a 3D object. The next tool is the loft tool. Lofting is basically when you merge two sketches on two separate planes a given height away. So if you watched my last video in the first part of this CAD series, you might have remembered that I taught how to make offset planes, and this is where offset planes come into use. So once again, I'll delete this, and I'm gonna go over here, and this is a plane, and I want an offset surface. So I can select this, and I can offset it by 3 inches like this, as such. So now I have this 3 inches away like that, and I can create like another sketch on here. So let's just say I want a really oddly shaped rectangle for some reason like that, right? I can simply click on the check mark again, and now if you look at the side view, these are a given distance away. This distance is your choice. You chose to make it how many inches you want, and you can draw anything you want. It could be a circle, like an ellipse, an arc, anything you really want. And then you can go over to the loft tool, click on loft, and then it's going to ask you for each of the profiles. So these profiles are the two different sketches essentially, and you can simply click on the check mark, and there you go. Now you have this weird object, albeit you could use this with different shapes to create something more useful. This isn't very useful obviously, but you can see how this could be used to combine two different surfaces basically. And this distance can be adjusted as high or as low as you want. So to conclude today, we learned 3 main things, or if you count the remove, of 4 main things. Firstly, for the extrusion and removing, you can make any 2D sketch into a 3D object by simply using the extruding tool, and the heights of the extrusions can be varied, and the same tool can be used to remove material by going in the opposite direction. Extrusion is often the simplest way to make a 2D sketch into a 3D object. The next part is the revolve command. This creates a 3D object by rotating a 2D sketch around a given axis and by a number of degrees, which is your choice. And the final one that we just talked about was the loft. It essentially creates a 3D object between the two 2D sketches, which are on separate planes a given distance away, like we were saying how these were a given distance away, and it created a 3D object in between. Thanks for watching the second CAD video. If you have any questions, please email me at stemfairs@gmail.com. And if you want to check out some more things about my initiative, you can go to www.stemfairs.com. Thank you.